I haven't made a video discussing leaks in a while, and that's primarily because none of the leaks that we've been hearing from Apple lately have been interesting at all. And so that's the reason why I end up never making these things. But finally, I think we do have something that's actually worth talking about, because it's been brought up every now and again that people will complain that, oh, Macs are so expensive. Well, for one, they're wrong. There's the Mac Mini. It's a $600 desktop with performance that is just completely unmatched. Sure, yes, Apple charges a ridiculous amount of money for the storage solutions, but they're not the only ones that are guilty of this. Dell. Now, I've already made videos in the past arguing that Apple does technically have cheaper options. It's just they don't market it in the form of a Mac. They instead choose to market it in the form of an iPad. Yes, this is their answer for budget computers. It's supposed to be this thing, supposedly. Maybe not the iPad Pro specifically, because iPad Pros cost literally the same as MacBook Airs, and so, yeah, that's not particularly the best substitution. If I had to guess, a better replacement would be like the budget iPad, maybe the iPad Air if you have to spring for whatever. But there's some new leaks and rumors thanks to Ming-Chi Kuo, and seems like we finally might get a MacBook that costs under $1,000 without having to haggle Apple for the price or any other third-party sellers. Let's begin. Back in 2020, Apple had launched Apple Silicon, the M1 chip, and everyone was completely blown away by it. I mean, they had every right to be blown away. The performance that you could get out of the M1 SoC at the time was very competitive to the iMac Pro. It was actually more powerful than Core i9 16-inch MacBook Pros at the time, which was insanely impressive given the type of machine it was supposed to go in and the price point too. And with this new performance capabilities of the M1, many people have been asking Apple to bring back a certain product that they ditched a while ago simply due to the fact that because of its size, it just couldn't keep a specific Intel chip cool enough to make any usable performance out of it. That, of course, is the 12-inch MacBook. Now, just so you guys know, because I am me and I care about screen real estate, I give no cares to this MacBook at all. It's just way too small for me, and something that I think Apple has learned when they launched the 15-inch MacBook Air, people do actually care about screen real estate, especially on laptops. So to me, the idea of a even smaller 12-inch MacBook is already silly. I mean, people are already trying to make these things work, although I get it, iPad OS is not Mac OS, and so that becomes a problem. I don't know, there comes a point where is the laptop a little too small at this point? So I've never personally been a fan of the 12-inch MacBook, but according to Ming-Chi Kuo, there is something similar in the works, akin to the 12-inch MacBook. And everyone's guess is, well, now that Apple Silicon is out, Apple now has the ability to make a device like that, because if you recall the previous 12-inch MacBook, the Intel processor that it had constant overheating issues, primarily because, for one, the device was fanless, so there was legit nothing to cool that thing down aside from the laptop's chassis. But because the laptop's chassis is so small and thin and there's so little material to it, basically once it absorbed all the heat it possibly could, at that point, that Intel chip had no choice but to throttle itself down to protect itself from overheating. But Apple Silicon doesn't really have this issue. It's so much more thermally efficient and power efficient that it doesn't really have to worry about needing a large thermal mass to help cool it down. I mean, the MacBook Airs today, both the 13 and the 15-inch, you can get these MacBooks fanless. In fact, they don't offer fans in them at all. They are completely fanless devices. And yet, do they have overheating issues? Well, if you really seriously push them to the max and on a hot day in particular, then yeah, you can overheat them at some point. I mean, that's the case with any fanless device. But because Apple Silicon is just so much more power efficient, it doesn't produce as much waste heat, now a device like the 12-inch MacBook seems possible, and I wouldn't fault Apple for wanting to reattempt a feat like that again, especially because there are some weirdos out there who insist on needing the tiniest tech possible, when at that point you really need to start questioning, is a 12-inch display really all that that practical for a desktop operating system. Then again, that's just me and I'm biased. So what do you guys think of a possible reincarnation of the 12-inch MacBook? I don't care, but maybe you guys beg to differ. Feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Do me a favor and interact with the stuff below, and do me a favor and check out my Patreon page. I would very much appreciate that. This is the Random Alpha Gadgets, signing out.